So I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer, who is a very well-known environmental consultant in this world, both in the LEED certification, WELL certification, and everything else. Jennifer.
So I've been working on the LEED certification and the WELL certification for the Life Kitchen restaurants. And the LEED certification that we've been doing is commercial interiors for retail. And what this means is we come into the restaurants and we look at various categories such as water, energy and atmosphere, indoor air quality, the materials and resources. So as Mike was saying, we look at things like this table. Where did it come from? This table happens to be local beetle wood kill. So, local beetle kill wood. So it's great. All of this wood was killed, hundreds of acres, and they've used it in this restaurant specifically to bring a little bit of Colorado into this restaurant. But again, it's reuse, it's reclaimed. So we're not going out there and using virgin materials. We're looking at things like indoor air quality. So the filtration systems that go in are higher than the typical filtration systems you would find in a normal retail restaurant. The water use, we're reducing the amount of water we use, whether it's in the restrooms, whether it's in the kitchens by using low flow, low flush. Again, talking about the energy, how we're reducing things like the cheese melter. It might not sound like a lot, but it all adds up, and when that's going all day, every day, it makes a big difference. So we've looked at all of our equipment to make sure that it's Energy Star rated, that it is as efficient as possible. But now there's also a new standard called the WELL standard, and Delos' WELL standard does for the people what LEED did for the building. So when you have a LEED certification, people know that in certain categories such as energy and atmosphere, water, indoor air quality, all of those things, that you've done what you need to make the environment healthier from a sustainable perspective for the built environment. But what the WELL standard does is it does that for the people, so the occupants of that building, that house, whatever it is, in this case a restaurant. And so it goes above and beyond what LEED does, and it looks at, for instance, water. Instead of reducing the water use, it's looking at the quality of water coming in. Are there things like pharmaceuticals, chlorine, fluoride, that are coming into the water that you're going to be drinking or that you're going to be cooking with? Their filtration system for the air is a little bit higher of a level than what you would use for LEED. They look at things like antimicrobial. So in the kitchens, the surfaces would have a well shield, and that well shield means that the moment anything hits it, it's antimicrobial and nothing's going to stick to it, which can be great in a facility like that. You're not seeing that in a lot of places, and so to see a restaurant that's doing LEED and WELL is really, Life is the first to do it. They are the first retail chain that is doing WELL certification for any of their restaurants. So when you walk in a Life restaurant, you're going to be getting something other than just great tasting healthy food. You're also going to know in that time that you're sitting there or in the time that you're working there that you're actually going to walk out of there and you're not going to negatively have been impacted by, things like volatile organic compounds, which are the chemicals you typically smell like carpet, or that new smell you get when you get a new car and you're like, oh, my new car, except for it's toxic for you, right? So you really shouldn't be all excited about that new smell. But if you walk into a newly constructed space, you smell the same thing: the paint, the carpet, the adhesives, the sealants. And if you notice, for the people sitting here, you can't smell anything right now, and they're just finishing up construction, and that's because everything in here is meeting those guidelines for LEED and for WELL. And so the volatile organic compounds and all of those things that typically would be off-gassing and quite frankly toxic to you aren't in this space. It has been built to very high standards, and it is the first restaurant chain that is doing that in the country.
This company kind of takes a real commitment to their growers. They put on a program which is almost beyond fair trade. They support the growers and raise money and kind of partition some of their profits and head down to the grower, and they actually donate a portion of that profit to making sure the growers are using best practices, making sure that their technologies are put in place. And that's not really done with fair trade. A lot of fair trade is just a lump sum, and they're hoping that the growers improve the facility, but this is the next step up. And I really think that everything that we're doing here and sourcing down our supply chain is making sure that we are creating these opportunities and really, really helping our company to grow by helping other companies to grow, which is very, very interesting.
I'm here and working on this team, and I'm so excited. In Denver, we have these awesome opportunities to work with local growers. Right here, we have some arugula that was just picked today. It's grown hydroponically, and so on these huge towers where the water runs through, and the water is full of all the nutrients that these plants need to grow. So there's no soil involved, and what's awesome about the grower, this is from Arrow Farms, and Evan was a veteran, and so they've come up with this program called Veterans to Farmers. So after he has come back from service, not knowing what to do as a career next, they have trained them in how to run a successful greenhouse and grow these beautiful greens that we will be using in many of our dishes.